In a New Zealand prairie, we can find an evolutionary mystery that has still yet to be fully solved. That mystery being the origin of this very unique little theropod called the Xuanhanosaurus. Before that though, we'll go over some quick Ingen history about this guy. It was cloned sometime in 2008, and while it was never put out for the park to see, it was roaming the island from that time onward. People hypothesize this is one of the species that Ingen brought over themselves and somehow got out one way or another. But now let's get into the actual mystery of this animal, its evolutionary spot in the timeline of theropods, specifically those of the Jurassic era. We'll be covering a couple of them throughout this entire season, however, just quickly to run off a few names, Xuanhanosaurus, Megalosaurus, and Piatnitskysaurus are all animals that are thought to possibly be related to this guy. You see, under the clade of both Xuanhanosaurs and Megalosaurs, Xuanhanosaurus has thought to have been in both of them. Initially, our feathered theropod was thought to be a member of the Megalosaurs, but after some further research, now there are studies that are saying it's actually part of the other group, the Xuanhanosaurs. The mysterious part comes from deciding which one of these two families was this Xuanhanosaurus a part of, because it's very clear it was a basal member of at least one of them. So which one was it? Although most paleontologists agree that it's a Xuanhanosaur, I want to go further in depth as to why that analysis is and how we can tell ourselves which one it is. Firstly, if you look at the paleontological record, there is absolutely no sign of megalosaurs in the area. You only had Xuanhanosaurs. With that in mind, it's perfectly reasonable to say that Xuanhanosaurus was a basal form of the Xuanhanosaurs that lived in this formation. The answer is very interesting because it gives us a very good look at what most basal forms of theropods could have been like. We'll see quite a few examples of this throughout the season, but if you look at a lot of basal theropods, you'll see quite a few common traits, including feathers and a shape that doesn't really define any specific sort of carnivore. Xuanhanosaurus, for example, looks like it could be a member of the Tyrannosaur group, based off its longer snout, the large nasal horns, and of course feathers, which are a common Tyrannosaur trait. But surprisingly, it's actually closely related to Xuanhanosaurus, a dinosaur which we covered quite a few seasons ago, which is much larger and looks a lot different from this guy. Even down to how they act is a lot different. Xuanhanosaurus is nocturnal, for example. It hunts during the nights and returns back to its home in the morning. Both the Metri and Xuanhanosaurus are arboreal. They eat during the daytime. Point being, you're going to find a lot of differences in these animals, but yet still, they're all related. Xuanhanosaurus specifically came from these Xuanhanosaurus. In my opinion, at least, seeing that evolutionary track line is incredibly cool. But that is all I have on this Xuanhanosaurus. Thank you all for watching as always, and remember, if something chases you, run.